Ready to light up the new year? Let's paint a dazzling New Year's Eve experience, complete with fireworks and champagne. All right, so the first step is we're gonna grab a little bit of black on our flat brush, and we're gonna do these back and forth strokes at the top of our canvas. And then we're gonna grab a little bit of blue, and then we're gonna start to blend. And then when you're about halfway down the canvas, you're gonna grab a little bit of white on your brush, and then you're gonna blend that in. So we're gonna get a little bit lighter as we work down that canvas. And you're gonna use those back and forth strokes to blend out that paint. And then we're gonna let that dry, and then we're gonna come back in the next step to add our city line. All right, now that our canvas is nice and dry to the touch, we're gonna create the city line in the background, which is gonna be just used with simple black paint. So I'm grabbing black paint with a smaller flat brush, and then we're just gonna create the horizon line just across the canvas. It's about 4 inches from the bottom, and you're just gonna create one straight horizontal line, and then we're going to create the building. So here you can just have fun and create whatever shapes come to mind. So I'm going to do some that are rectangular, a little bit shorter, and then some I'm going to make a little bit taller. We're going to mix up the different sizes and shapes. Another idea too is if you want to get really personal or custom, you can look at a city line of your own city that you live in, and you can replicate like the building, the skyline of your own city. So if you live in a city like New York, you can create a New York skyline, or any city would work as well. And then with the gaps between the buildings, I'm just gonna add, it could be trees maybe, or other buildings in the distance. I'm just gonna fill them in a little bit more. And then we're gonna wait for that to dry. But while that dries, we can actually add, so this at the bottom here is gonna be like a body of water. So we wanna add a little bit of water reflections going on. So we're just gonna grab a smaller brush and some white paint, and we're gonna create these horizontal lines going across, which are just gonna be like water ripples, water reflections in the water. And then we're also gonna add a table in the later step on the right side, so you don't have to focus too much there because it's going to be covered up anyways. And once you're done with the water ripples, we're going to leave that dry, and then we're going to come back into the next step. We can move on to creating our table at the bottom of the canvas. So to do that, I'm just going to start using a chalk just to give myself an outline so I know where to paint that table. If you don't have chalk, it's okay, you can just skip to the next step, but I just like to roughly sketch that table shape in. So it's just a little bit easier to paint in that table. So now to paint that in, we're gonna grab our smaller flat brush, and we're gonna pick up some brown paint, and then we're gonna paint the outline of that table with that brown paint. So we're gonna pick up some white paint now, and we're just gonna blend to kind of create like a wood grain look to this table. So we're gonna alternate between the brown and the white and these oval shapes all the way to the center. And we also want to remember to keep a dark outline for that table with that dark brown on the outside edge. That'll just give it a really nice look. All right, while we let this next layer dry, I just want to quickly say thank you to Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. Now, Craftsy is an amazing online resource that can help you crush your 2025 creative resolutions. They offer 2,000 expert-led classes in more than 20 categories, and everything from painting to sewing to baking and much more. Whether you're a beginner or looking to level up your skills, Craftsy makes it easy and fun to explore your creative side, and they're always adding new classes to help you stay inspired. What I love most about Craftsy is how accessible it is. You can literally dive into so many creative outlets from the comfort of your own home and without having to break the bank. So if you're ready to start the new year with inspiration and creativity, check Craftsy out. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the video description will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49. This is for new members only. I've added the link in the description below. Let's make 2025 your most creative year yet. Now, let's get back to the video. All right, now we're gonna move to the star of this painting, which are the fireworks. And then to make the fireworks, there's different shapes, so we're gonna focus on one for now. And we wanna pick like a middle point for that firework to begin. So I'm just gonna put that middle point right there. Just create these wispy lines coming from the center. So we wanna work from outwards towards the center to give the look of that firework. And they don't all have to be the same length. but it's super important for them to all be emanating from that same center point. Just like that. So that's one firework right there. So we're gonna work on a different shape of firework now. So to do that, we're just gonna create the outer border of these fireworks. So these ones are gonna be, you're gonna recognize it once we make the shape. It's really hard to describe it, but we're just gonna make a basic circle with these dashed lines. Okay, so once we have the outer lines, we're gonna create an inner circle, and we're going to stagger those dashed lines between the ones on the outside. And then we're gonna leave a little bit of a space in between, and we're going to then create another circle inside of that larger one, just like that. And then we're just gonna fill that in. So that's another shape of firework. Now for the top one, we're gonna actually replicate this shape, but a little bit bigger in the top left corner. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit more of the white lines to that one in the top right corner. So I'm just gonna add some smaller ones and layer. I'm gonna try to focus to have them directed towards that center. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this one over here. And maybe, I think I'm gonna add a smaller firework right over there. So this one is going to be a little bit of a different shape. This one will be, we're gonna make it kind of like an oval, little dashed marks, and then we're going to create the explosion marks, whatever they're called, kind of coming from it. And you can have fun here too. If you like certain types of fireworks, it's a really good idea to Google some images of fireworks and then just take note of the patterns you see and then just try to replicate it with paint. We can add some dots too, here and there, because there's some of the explosions that are kind of happening in the background. So I'm just gonna add small little dots here and there, not all over, because we don't want to take away from the focal point of these beautiful fireworks, but here and there we can add some little dots. If you find you want to smudge them, you can also smudge them out, because often with fireworks, there's dust clouds that are left behind, so we can smudge them out a bit with our fingers. All right, once you're happy with the amount of fireworks you've added in your sky, you're gonna wait for the white to dry, and then we're gonna add some beautiful bright colors to our fireworks, because no fireworks is complete with those colors. So you can add any colors you want on your palette. I personally added pink because that's my ultimate favorite, yellow, magenta, orange, and teal. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab that same detailing brush we used for the fireworks, and we're gonna load up our brush with a color. And then what we're gonna do is one firework at a time, we're gonna fill it in with color. Now, one thing to keep in mind is we don't wanna cover the entire stroke with that color. We wanna leave the center of it with that white, because the brightest part of the firework is gonna be in the center, and we wanna give it that look. So I'm gonna start from the outside inwards, and I'm gonna leave a little part of it with white. And then we're gonna repeat this basically for all the fireworks and the colors of our choosing. Now, when you're happy with the fireworks in the sky, we're gonna go ahead and add our pair of champagne glasses sitting on our wooden table. So just to sketch out the initial shape, I'm just gonna take some chalk. Again, you can skip this step if you just wanna get straight to painting it. So basically, it's just like a cup shape like that, an elongated cup shape with a stem and then the base. Now we're just gonna grab our thin detailing brush and some of that thin white paint, and we're just gonna trace the outline of it. And glass is actually surprisingly easy to paint because glass is clear, so all you need is the outline of it and a couple of reflection lines, and it automatically looks like glass. And another tip here is if you find it's hard to make these lines with your thin brush, you could also use a paint marker. A paint marker would also make it a little bit easier to create these detailed lines. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add our champagne to our champagne glasses. So to do that, I'm gonna make a champagne color. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, and then just a tiny bit of magenta, or if you have brown. We just want to mute that yellow just a bit to create a really nice, beautiful champagne color. And then when you've gotten that really nice golden color, we're just going to now add our yummy champagne to our glasses. So we're just gonna add it, not in a straight line, kind of like a curved line. So then we're gonna create a curved line at the top. Then we're just gonna fill in the side of the glasses with that color. And you can always make some more if you need it. So the next step is we're gonna clean off our brush, take our white paint, and then we're just gonna fill in the stem of our wine glass here on both sides, on both glasses. And then we're just gonna add ridges to the base of our wine glasses on both wine glasses, just to give it a little bit of a decorative feel. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another coat of white along the champagne glasses edges, just to give it a cleaner look and to really bring that glass to life. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add some reflections in that glass. So we're just going to add some lines along the sides, like that. It's just gonna give the illusion that it's a reflective glass. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other champagne glass. So off camera, I added a second coat to my champagne color. Now the next step is, what champagne isn't complete without bubbles, right? So we're gonna add little white bubbles in our champagne with that white paint. And we're gonna use a really cool technique where we're gonna flip over our paintbrush to the other side, and we're gonna dip the back end of our paintbrush into some white paint. And we're just gonna dot some dots in that champagne glass to mimic those fun little bubbles that you get in champagne, which make it fizzy. And that's what I love about champagne, is that fizzy factor. So we're just gonna add a few bubbles here and there. And then I'm gonna also add some in the glass itself, kind of evaporating up. And then we're gonna do the same thing in the other champagne glass. All right, the final touch for our champagne glasses is I'm just gonna take a little bit of white and I'm gonna add that definition of where that champagne is kind of curving down in the glass, and the outside edge too, just to give it a little bit of definition. And then we're gonna add another detail to our champagne glass. So I'm going to switch over to some black paint, and I'm gonna make a string or tag going around the stem of the glass at the bottom. This is kind of like those name tags sometimes you have at parties where you add your name on it so you know which glass is yours. It's like a tag like that. And then we're gonna add a rectangular shape where we're later gonna add the year in. And the fun thing with this painting is you can do this in any year and customize the date. And then I'm going to add white on the inside of it. I really like that champagne color. Kind of reminds me of gold. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit more of the accent. Or if you have gold paint, that would work really nicely here. Bring some shimmery gold New Year's vibes to this painting. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a little bit of that gold to the outside of this tag, kind of give it the illusion that it has gold on it. Now, once the white is dried in our tag, we're going to write the year number. For that, I'm just gonna switch over to a paint marker, but if you don't have a paint marker, just use your black paint and your thin detailing brush. So we're welcoming in, at this point in time, it's 2025, so I'm gonna write 2025, but if you're doing this painting tutorial in the future, you can write the year that you're going into.
And if you're looking for another cozy painting for the winter season, check out my cardinal on a snowy branch tutorial. It's perfect for staying warm and creative during these chilly winter months. And as always, sending you lots of peace, love, and color your way. Happy New Year's, everybody!